So I'm Tracy Bills, I'm the president of CRRA, the current president. And then I wanted to introduce the board. I thought we would do it by district. So since I'm speaking first, I guess we'll start with the Central District. So I represent the Central District. Bob Nelson also represents the Central District, and he is in France. And then we also have Monica Devereux.
Hello.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and just say what position you do.
Okay. So I just completed my first year on the board. This is my first year of my 3-year term, and it's my first term. And I am chair of the Development and Communications Committee.
Okay, and then we'll go to Northern District.
I'm Ron Hogan. I'm CRA's treasurer this past year and will be this coming year as well.
I'm Peter Sloat. I'm with the City of Oakland, and I'm going to go forward another year as vice president. I'm also going to go forward the next year as the chair of the policy committee.
And I am Leslie Lukash, and I am the co-conference chair. And I'm also the liaison to KAB and to NRC.
And then
And Rona.
And then Southern.
Southern. I'm Colleen Foster. I'm with the City of Oceanside. I just was appointed to the board just a few months ago. I am going to be the secretary for the board, and I'm also the chairperson for the certification committee.
Not that we pile stuff on our new people.
Don't think that.
I'm Lynn France. I'm in the city of Chula Vista in San Diego, and I am the past secretary. Gladly handed that off. And I've been the policy chair. I'll just be on the policy committee this year, and board member at large.
I'm Rick Anthony. I'm the resident curmudgeon on the board. I was on the founding board of directors back in 1974, president 80 to 93. This last run is about 13 years. I just got reelected barely, so I've got to do something in my community. I work on international stuff. I try to bring the global perspective to the board, and I comment on a lot of stuff.
So we did have board elections the other night. I'll be bringing on as president for one more term, and then Peter's going to be vice president, remaining on one more term, or one more year as well. Rob's staying on as treasurer, so it's kind of nice having the core group stay on one more year, especially with we have a lot of transition, and with the executive director and whatnot, which Peter will talk about. And then Colleen's going to be our secretary, so the core group for the most part is staying the same, and then our board for the most part is staying the same as well, which is pretty exciting with Colleen being the new blood. So welcome to Colleen. It's her 3rd month now?
Yeah.
Crash
Haven't run away yet.
Crash course. We also have advisors. Julie Muir is one of our advisors, David Kruger, John Davis, Susan Collins, and Bob Hollis. We have 5 advisors that we use oftentimes, and then they're also on the board meetings as well to help us advise. We have 2 staff right now, Judy Gregory, who's in charge of certification, and then Patty Morgan, slid in there, and then Patty Morgan, who is in charge of conference, and then she also has some new responsibilities, which I will talk about in a second. And to make this a little more informal, we were all just going to sit down and talk, so if it becomes problematic, just let us know, and then we'll stand.
Can you hear in the back row?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so I get to go first. I'm doing the state of the organization address. The first thing is that, as everybody knows, Stephen Ventillo, he actually left the organization in May, and so we placed out an RFP for candidates for executive directors, and we had over 70 applications. It's been an amazing process, and I'm actually going to let Peter talk about most of that. So but that's been a pretty exciting process for us, and we're looking forward to moving forward to this next year and the whole transition. CRRA has also been reviewing its internal processes just to ensure that we become more efficient and really make sure that our databases are syncing up and whatnot. But as part of the reevaluation, and especially with Stephen leaving, we had to shuffle some things around. So Patty Morgan, who's our conference manager, and she works with Red Shoes Solutions, is also the manager of our day-to-day accounting activities, which works really nicely because our current CRM with our database, it all works in with QuickBooks, and so it's been actually a really efficient move and process because she was already handling part of it, and then Stephen was handling part of it, and so now she's just managing it all, and then working with Rob as treasurer. So it's actually working really, really well. We did that a couple of months ago, as well as we changed banks, which is much more nonprofit friendly. We're not getting charged as much for certain things, fees and stuff like that. Rob managed that as well, and that's been pretty significant for us. Olivia Sanchez, she stepped down from her Southern District Board position a few months ago, and then that's the position Colleen is filling for the next year, 1 year term, right? 1 year, 2 year term? Oh, yeah, it's a 2-year term for Colleen to finish up from Olivia. We did have a board retreat last May. It was a joint board retreat with CPSC and KCB, which was really exciting. The board, we got a chance to work with a facilitator who taught us how to be a better board and be able to figure out like strategies, distributed planning and stuff like that. So it was really helpful. We actually did one of these trainings last year. We had such a good time, learned so much that we did a little extension, like a 101B for board training. So that was pretty fun. We just released an RFP for our web design and maintenance services, and Monica will talk a little bit more about that. But we're really excited. We want to integrate our systems even more. So the process is appropriately timed, especially with our impending executive director. And we've completed an amazing 3-year journey with CBJT certification, and it's come to a close. Judy's wrapping that up, and she's going to give you the update of what's been transpiring over this last year, as well as the next 3 years. And then Colleen's going to talk about the future of CRRA certification. And the CRRA, I mentioned a few of our partners this morning at Keynote. Always partners, we have some reciprocal agreements where, like for example, the U.S. Compost Council, we exchange out where we give them a booth here and a couple registrations, and they do the same for us, so we can represent each other at our organizations and support each other that way. CPSC, CAW, and CRRA, as well as KCB, we're all very good partners working together. And then as with Leslie with the liaison with NRC and the RONA and the merger of that, and KAB, we have Leslie's liaison as well. So, CAW. Did I not say that? CAW too. Yeah. And we go to their birthday bash every August. There's usually 6 or 7 of us that go on the board to help support them as well.
Can you, I know there's some new people here, can you tell us what
Oh,
those
you want me-
acronyms
okay.
mean, please?
Okay, California Product Stewardship Council, CPSC. California's Against Waste, CAW. We've got Keep California Beautiful, KCB. Always the acronyms. Aren't we good with that in this industry? CRRA is Northern California Recycling Association, the U.S. Compost Council, and then we have RONA, which is now merged with NRC, which is National Recycling Coalition. What's the new name now?
It's still to be determined.
Still to be determined.
North American Recycling Coalition, with RONA donating its assets, not actually merging. And it's the recycling organizations in North America that's donating its assets in NRC to the terms that RONA has now offered from its members in the last week.
So when that all finally transpires, we'll send something on the listserv so everybody's aware of it, but we're right in the middle of that whole conversation. So, I said NRC, and then KAB, Keep American Beautiful.
And Grassroots Recycling Network, we periodically partner with them, like we did Zero Waste.
Yeah. So I'd say overall this year has been an incredible year. There's been a lot of changes, really good changes. We've been a very busy board. Typically, some organizations, their boards aren't as active, but our board, everybody here has a ton of responsibilities to make sure we can run efficiently throughout the year. So as an honor and privilege to be able to serve with these other board members, they really help make my job a lot easier. All right, so with that, I'm just going to go down the list, and everybody else will give their updates. So let's go ahead and we'll start with Peter.
I was appointed to chair the board's search committee, and we assembled a committee that had really good diversity up and down the state. We also had board members and also some of our senior advisors really bringing a lot of institutional knowledge to the process. It's been a fantastic process. We led an RFP job announcement. We got tremendous response. The second time, the first time, if you watch this closely, we didn't get a very good response. I don't know, releasing a job opening on December 24th, it seemed okay to me. Apparently I'm not a professional. So But we were really validated in the second run at this, and we had the help and guidance of Bob Hollis, who lets us punch out of our weight class in terms of executive recruitment skills. And we got, I believe, 70 responses.
71.
A number of which, after Bob sort of did a sortation, there was another somewhat considerably smaller list that we applied through. And I'll cut to the chase. We had really hoped to introduce a new executive director right here in this ballroom at this podium. But we're a nonprofit of amateurs, and I know this has never happened before, but it took longer than we had hoped. But I can tell you that we did a lot of groundwork. It's not just about selecting a new executive director. This process has been about positioning the new executive director, whoever that may be, and the organization to really go forward in a way that maybe we haven't done in a long time, or in a way we haven't done ever. We positioned the new ED will be positioned, I think, very well. We hired Patty Morgan and contracted her through 2014 for the conference. We also have contracted with her, as Tracy mentioned, to take care of our member services, our administrative services, and bookkeeping. So this will not be one of those deals where we hire somebody, hey, welcome to our new little nonprofit, here's a bilge pump, and the ship is sinking, and you have to organize our administrative services. You have to put on a conference, and you've never done that before for us. So we're positioning the new person for success, and we're positioning the association for success. So it's not just an executive search. It's not just a recruitment. It is I don't even know if reorganization is the right word, but this board is focused on getting the organization, the association to the next level so that we can fulfill some of the things that many of us would like this organization to fulfill. And there's a long list there, starting perhaps with having some kind of an advocacy footprint and fulfilling all these other opportunities for member services, just as a taste. So towards that end, I can tell you that I mentioned that we had quantitatively an outstanding response to the RFP job announcement. The quality has also been outstanding. And some of us have been through this a few times before, and we've really been blown away this time. And the board is progressing to a critical point in the selection process. And you can stay tuned and look forward to news about this. I really hesitate to say when, because I've learned my lesson. But it's soon. It's very soon, maybe not imminent. But we're really progressing forward, and we're confident that we're going to deliver a really, really good selection that's not just going to fill some shoes at the podium, but it's going to take CRRA to the next level, no question about it.
All right, Rob Hilton, financial update.
All right. So the good news is that yet another year, this conference was self-sustaining. The registrations that you paid covered the costs of all the very expensive food and rooms and things like that we got here. Little note about the conference, you probably noticed that we're in a very nice hotel. This ship has sailed. We got this because we booked it during the recession and they were trying to fill spaces. Next year we'll be at a nice place as well, but after that,
No Bentley.
we may be going back to the
Motel 6.
Motel 6 for the conference.
Best Westerns.
Camping. Camping, there we go. State parks. So, again, good news, we were able to run this conference in a self-sustaining way, and that's great. It was particularly important because our sponsorship this year was pretty anemic. WasteCon is happening just down the road in Long Beach, and that seems to have drawn some of our traditional sponsors. Their money is going there. So this year we're a little less than half of what we brought in sponsorship revenue last year. And the reason that that's significant is that's the money that we live off during the whole year to keep the organization going and to be able to do other member services types of things like having workshops. And we had 2 75% workshops last year that we were able to fund because Oakland was such a great sponsorship generating conference, and we had a little bit of freeboard there. I think this year we'll be struggling to do some of those things unless we can get event-specific sponsorship. With another huge portion of our revenue over the last 3 years has been the CBJT grant, and Judy will talk to you about the programmatic elements of that. But Judy did a fantastic job of managing the finances around this, and it has been a real concern and liability for the board the whole time. The dynamics of this grant were we had instructors and we paid those instructors, and then we submitted an invoice for our grant to be reimbursed and crossed our fingers and hoped. Well, 120 days and 180 days passed on AR and money always came in. It was an $800,000 grant roughly, and we only lost $200 out of $800,000. That is huge. So that is great, and now we're looking at sort of where our professional development training and that go from here, and Judy and Colleen will talk about that. Our membership situation, which is another source of the revenue that we get, has stabilized. We had, during the height of the recession, dropped down to about 250 members from our previous highs of around 500-600. That's stabilized. We're back into the sort of mid-400s and climbing in terms of members, which is great. And hopefully we can find ways to be adding more value, and you can be talking to your colleagues and friends and bringing them in as members as well. The last little thing I wanted to talk about, and Tracy brought it up quickly, was we changed over banks. This year we had been using a bank previously, and all of a sudden the fees started racking up, and we found that there are banks that like nonprofits and give us really low rates on credit card charges and things like that. And so by switching, we save a considerable amount of money, particularly on credit card charges, and we're able to expand so that you can now pay for your membership or your exhibit or your conference registration with your Amex, which for some of our corporate members is a big deal because that's what their P card is. So all of that has helped us stabilize our expenses a little bit and work a little bit more seamlessly with our banking institutions. So all in all, I think we're on an upward tick, and we're really poised for San Jose to be a great conference and a great sponsorship year for us.
What's the bank that you switched to?
We went to Wells Fargo.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Here.
And you said the $200 loss, were those somewhere in the gutter, or?
It was what was it was the only amount that was not reimbursed. We submitted all the invoices for reimbursement, and I think it was $200 out of $800,000 that they said, we're not paying for that. I think Judy can give you more detail on the specifics.
They were
In
making
any
up
event,
the
that is
grant
a
reimbursement policy.
huge result, because we were very concerned at many points during this grant that that number was going to be 5 figures and not 3. So.
I just like to comment on the financials relative to the CBJT. To me, the lesson learned is try to work out arrangements where we're not paying out until we get paid.
Amen.
And I know sometimes you're not allowed to do that, that was just the one thing that, if we go for big grants again, let's try to not have to pay out until the organization gets paid. Because for me, it really distracted from the incredible success of that program, particularly for the board who had to deal with carrying this financial load. And it was just crazy that you guys felt so bad about the program when the whole country looked at what CRRA was doing in awe and the leadership that it was providing.